So here we are. This is so it's 2 years out since you did the last interview. We did the last interview on the cliffs, and you wore your seagull
Yep.
cap
Sad
because
sob. Sad sob because we fought to save the bite, which we did,
yeah.
and proud to dress as a seagull and talk for the animals. Actually, preferred to talk to animals than people most of the time. Which is the same thing that makes flamingos pink and, carrots orange and things like that. It's a tiny little thing. And so when it's pink, it's really, really pink. But so see this causeway? See this causeway? When COVID, they decided they were going to have, this was where they were going to have the first runway modelling session, right?
Okay.
Wow. When they actually had billboards up in Times Square in New York, and it was all put together by Pretty Little Thing, which is a fast fashion, really cheap English brand, right? Where the actual label on the clothing says, in the making of this garment, carcinogenic chemicals may have been used which are known to cause nerve defects. Right? So for some reason the South Australian government decided to hook up with them, and they were going to live stream this runway down here. They actually, oh God, it was just bizarre. They had so much shit. They had things made out of those shuttles, those water container things, They had stages set up, they had baristas, they had little cafes, they had all this sort of stuff. I used to walk down here dressed as Sadsop. And make it on some sort of fucking model walking down here. Go fuck this shit! No, what the fuck? And people go, oh, what are you going to go for? Why don't we, look at Pretty Little Thing, why are we supporting them?
Now you're really isolated out here, which is really interesting. But there's and that's because you're surrounded now by national park, right?
Yeah. Like we're pretty lucky. We are surrounded by a national park, which in South Australia is also half owned by Aboriginal corporations as well, so it's 50-50. And but yeah, we're lucky to have a little freehold block that we got 40 years ago, I suppose, and created a life.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
And so, what are you seeing at the world from here then? From this really, this is where so many people want to get to, an isolated place to be a spectator from. What are you seeing of the world?
I don't think a lot of people can get to that place because I think a lot of people can't handle being isolated.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I'm really happy with my own space. I'm really happy talking to myself. I'm really happy walking around, stopping and having a piss just because I can. I don't. I've got my own space, and we collect our own rainwater. We've got our own power. We built our house by hand, no machinery or anything like that. And it's taken all this time, but it's been fucking hard, and raised 2 kids and that. And people come around and they go, oh, fuck, you're lucky, you're so lucky, and you think, man, look at the calluses on my hands, and I'm lucky because it was a dream and we wanted it to happen. But I'm not saying it wasn't hard work, but, I wouldn't have had it any other way. But so many people, you see them come here and they see that fairy tale, like, wow, this is how I want to live. Come when there's a mouse plague. Come when it's 50 degrees. Come when there's a stink bug infesting. Come when there's a snake in your kitchen, there's all that other side of it when it's been howling northerly for 4 days, and it's 48, 49, fuck, we're going to kill each other. Or, having no air conditioning and spraying the kids with water and putting towels, making them wet to put them on them at night because that was the only way they could go to sleep. You lived in a tin shed that you'd seen more snakes in than you had outside, So, I think people think it's a bit, they're fantasising if they can do this because that's why most people live in the city or live on the edge, whereas out here we live on the fringe, and even though we might be out in the middle of nowhere, I see the world as a really screwed up, scary, fucked up place. And it's not the world, it's the people. It's the people, and it's generally the people that's saying, it's not me. I look out here and I think the whole place is run on funding. Everything's run on funding, you know.
Out here is Sejuna and
Pretty
Penong.
much, you know, like a lot of South Australia is run on funding, you know, like, I mean, and that's on all levels. You know, I mean, as soon as something seems to go wrong, it's like, oh, God, we need a bailout. You think, what happened to the old days when you had to sell your assets?
Yeah.
Or, you know, like, if you wanted something, you had to fucking work for it, you know. And that's the difference of having our place is it's almost like it's morally built for me, like within my morals. I'm not saying that everybody's morals, but, you know, I'm not going to sit back and almost employ somebody to build my house while I go off and do my fingernails and get my hair done. It's like a bit, to me, it's a bit like slavery, you know, like in a sense. I mean, I know that's pretty weird, but I think it's just a bit like that. And but I look at out here and I think, no, the whole place, it's just, everything's just government funded. How the hell, you know, and I look at most of the workers, they're government workers, you know, like, and you think, yeah, fair enough if problems were getting solved, but they're just Band-Aids. They're just boxes. They're just, let's tick the box, and then on a world stage we look like we're doing our Indigenous people well, you know. But then you only got to go down the road to like a community and see houses where little girls are sleeping in a bath. It doesn't matter because the bath doesn't work anyway, but that's the only way they got to sleep, you know.
There's no water.
There's no water, or, you know, it's all the boxes have been ticked, you know, and we've got all those good old white workers there that are getting paid good bucks, and the boxes are being ticked, but they don't really want to solve the problems, do they? No. I mean, if the problems were solved, all those jobs would be gone.
You were saying that about the schools here.
Oh, look, I find the schools, for instance, my grandson last year, he's in Burringbar School. They got 99 kids, right? He's in year 3 and 4. The room that they're in hasn't got enough room to have enough desks for them all to sit at a desk, right? So they had to take it in turn. One day it was year 3s, the next day it was year 4s. If they got one more kid in the school, they could have got another building. So here we are. Like, who knows this shit? You know, like when you hear it, you go, bullshit, that's not true. It is true. In our country, you know. And then I look at that, and then I look at some schools out here, or, you know, in various parts of Australia, and they might have 5 kids going, 12 enrolled, 5 kids going. But how many teachers do they need? Like, quite often it can be a 1-to-1 ratio, you know, like, and I think, shouldn't we be turning out, I don't know, geniuses, if that was the case, if throwing money at it, we should have these people coming out with university degrees, you know, but it's not, it's just Band-Aids, you know, like the whole thing's just going backwards in a sense, you know, like I was thinking the other day, you know, back in the 60s, if you're Aboriginal, you actually said, no, I'm Italian, you know.
Oh, you lied.
Well, they did, didn't they? That's what they did, and, you know, it's well documented in so many things, and, you know, it was like, whoa, no, because they had no right. You know, so you could be Italian and you could get a job and, you know, you could get a house and that sort of stuff. But then they had no right, you know. So they went, yep, I'm Italian, tick the box. Nowadays, I see white fellas ticking the box to say that they're Aboriginal because they get all these bonuses, you know, these things that the other sort of sector isn't entitled to, you know, like, and I think, isn't it just so screwed up that when one person that is like possibly a little bit racist and everything else is putting shit on all the funding that's being handed out, but quite prepared to take it themselves, you know, like, and I just think, man, as if the world hasn't got enough shit going down, why do we have to create those things? And, you know, like, it's more things to me in your own morals, in your own ethics, in your own things that you're passing on to your children, which is all I can do. I can only make my kids, I've done that, you know, like, but I can only teach them that, like, hey, it doesn't matter if you're rich, it doesn't matter if you're poor, it matters that providing you feel that you've done it, whatever you're doing, for the right reason, you know, not because you can or it's not fair. I mean, come on, we're adults. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that sort of shit, it really gets to me in this day and age, you know. And I think when, like, I live in a small place and when you live in a small place, you see things more intricately.
Yeah.
You know, like and you can just work things out more. You know, maybe if you're in the city and that, you think, oh, like there's however many thousands of people, but you don't even know them. You don't even know your neighbours. Whereas here, you know, you mightn't even know them, but you find out something. You know, like, and you see things. You just
The word would spread.
the word would spread.
I moved out of the sun. So you're talking about the small town here. Now the other thing is that everyone's saying COVID's over, but you're still seeing some of the side effects out here.
I believe that COVID has changed a lot of people's minds, you know, and I don't know if it's done psychological damage or what happens, you know, or neurological damage, but or if people are still in denial about it. But you know, I know a lot of older generational people, like I'm saying, you know, in their late 70s. I mean, I'm half old anyway, but in their late 70s and that are still going for their shots. You know, still going for their boosters and still in denial, even though, like, I know one guy got right up me, had this real debate about COVID thing, and then he had a stroke, and then 3 weeks later his wife had a stroke, you know. You know what, their reaction was, oh, it was good that we had it together sort of thing, you know, like, come on, is there no connection there, you know, like, and that, and, you know, there's people that have passed away, young people that have passed away with no reason, and still no reason.
Someone was asleep.
Yeah, like one girl just didn't wake up or just didn't show up to work, and that was it. You know, nobody knows why, but how do we know?
Yeah.
You know,
She
like,
died in her sleep.
well, died in her sleep or just died. No, I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
she didn't go up to work. You know,
Yeah.
and but yeah, like, how do they know? And I know more than one of those people. You know, like, and you know,
This is a tiny hamlet.
this is a tiny place.
Yeah.
You know, like I can, you know, I think about it. I can rattle off probably, you know, 10, 15 people I know, you know, like Jessica Shippard, she's from this place, you know, and encephalitis, you know. I know another lady that had a, I don't know, dementia maybe, or Alzheimer's or something like that, had to have the jab. How could she have even chosen to have the jab, you know? But had the jab, had a really bad reaction, you know, she passed away real quick, you know. Other people that had young guys that pericarditis, you know, they've changed their life, and they're like, you know, because of these things. Another guy that had myocarditis actually got a letter saying this might be caused by the vaccine, you know, because it happens straight after the vaccine, you know. I know more than one of those people, and this is a tiny little place, you know.
Had like you got Streaky Bay, Ceduna, and we were here when we come through in 2022. They'd cancelled the underage football because they couldn't get enough teams together because so many young men were.
Streaky Bay, I heard, had heaps of young people that had, you know, injuries and that. And now the teams struggle. You know, I think that was also, like, we're okay out here because we don't have much entertainment out on the edge. We live on the edge, you know. And so football's always going to be a thing out here. But other places, I think, when they shut everything down with COVID and football did stop and that sort of stuff, people thought, wow, I can actually do something different on the weekend. So I think some of those footy teams just never recovered. You know,
Oh, really?
like,
Because people have moved on?
because people just thought, yeah, like, wow, how... Because it's an obligation to be in the country. If you're going to... And people do it, you know. I mean, we did it with our kids. We might drive 300 k's for a game of football.
Yeah.
Who does that? 600k return trip, you know, for a 45-minute training session. You know, so I think, you know, when COVID actually stopped, kids thought, wow, might go fishing this weekend instead of every Saturday and every... It's a big commitment, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think since then that's happened.
And that's sort of the social fabric of the society, is that?
In the country, it's like a major thing. Once you start losing your town. Well, you drive through these little towns. How many towns are boarded up?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, so many.
So many towns. Like, you know, from Kalgoorlie, which not long ago was a thriving town, you know. You go to Ceduna, you go to everywhere, you think empty shop, you know, empty shop. Like, things are just really full on changed. And then I know, you know, you did that interview with people freaking out about Indians coming in and taking over. They'll work. Like, people have really short memories. Like, my last name isn't Namanjira, you know. Your last name isn't Namatjira, you know. We came in from somewhere else. We came in as criminals on boats. Fuck! Does that make us boat people? You know, we came in here, we raped and pillaged. You know, we didn't give a shit. You know, we got ourselves to this situation now.
Well, the eradication of the Tasmanian Aborigines is the most successful genocide in the history of humanity.
Yeah, so far, I'm sure we're slightly.
Yeah, but we have the trophy at the moment.
We're almost overtaking it right now. You know,
Yeah, that's right.
going, but not just that. You know, like my mum, she came here. You know, she was in the Second World War. You know, her parents came here, from Holland. My grandfather came over first. He lived in these humpies out at Bathurst. He was a painter, couldn't speak any English whatsoever, you know, but he knew he had to work hard. Yeah. And, you know, and they were migrants. Every Australian was freaked out because, you know, they were wogs, you know, like they were wogs, you know, Western Oriental gender, I think it stands for, or something like that, you know. And it's like, whoa, they're not pure white. They're not from England, Ireland or Scotland, you know, like, and these people are sus. Like when my mum came here, she when she was like 15, she could ride a motorbike because she lived in a rural area, get a licence and the rest of it. When she married my dad, she had to be baptised before they would allow the wedding to go on because they were just freaked out she was a Catholic. You know, and this is in a tiny little, almost inbred town in New South Wales, you know, like, and the old people are saying, thank God for new blood, and everyone going, whoa, you know, like. So, you know, it wasn't long ago we had this big migrant influx. Yeah. And all the Australians were freaked out.
And the Vietnamese were after that?
Oh, yeah, the Vietnamese. Remember Japanese? Yeah. Like I remember not long ago when, oh my God, you know, Cairns has been taken over by Japanese. You know, all the signs are getting written in Japanese, you know, and English, but we will leave that bit out, in Japanese, you know. Like, well, that's because they're owned by, you know, that's where the money's coming from. We don't mind taking the money, you know, but everyone was freaked out about that, you know, and the whole migrant thing, you know, like, oh, and I grew up in, like, Wollongong. There was, like, Little Cringilla, which was Yugoslavs, or, you know, then you had your Italians, then you had your German, and then you had your Dutch. I mean, I had a pet crow and walked down the street. People used to think I was a witch, you know, like, because they were from these places in Europe.
Pet
you know?
crow.
You're probably right. Yeah, yeah, I did. Bill, he was great. He's my friend. And
did he ever talk? I heard.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
They can actually talk.
Oh my God, they can talk. He used to. He was such a character, mate. He took him because he'd go everywhere with me. He'd sit on my shoulder. He could fly, and he would fly. He'd take me to the bus, and then I'd go to school, and he'd pick me up at 3. You know. Oh my God. Oh yeah, smart. They're really smart. And he'd come and land here, and he'd go, give me a cuddle, give me a cuddle. And you'd have to give him a cuddle.
Is that what he'd say?
And then this other time, so we took him into this shop, and he actually picked up some chewing gum and stuck it under his wing, and went like I didn't know, and walked outside, and he dropped it, and went.
Where did you get him from?
I took him out of a nest when he was a baby. Yeah, like over in Wollongong, really wanted a crow. My dad got him out of a nest for me. Had to feed him, and his name was Bill, and just used to let him fly around, you know, like and that. And oh God, he had some adventures. And the principal ended up getting him one day because the school near our place was being renovated, you know. And the builders used to wait for him to come over because we were at school, like a different school. So Bill had nothing to do, so he'd go to that school and listen to the kids read, and then he'd hang out with the workers. And the principal freaked out one day and put him in a box and hid him with an umbrella. Oh. And then all the kids just came and told my dad. Dad went and punched the principal, you know. It was, Dad.
So did he kill it?
No, he didn't kill it. But we had to, because then like Billy'd go down to the cricket game on a Saturday morning, and I don't know, when you play with a crow, you know, you throw the ball and then it'll run to the ball, but then it'll puff itself up, you know, and it'll hold open its beak and it'll, and you go to get the ball and it'll run at it, you know, it's just playing. But the cricket players would rock up on a Saturday morning and, you know, we'd sleep in because you're 13, you know, and you get this knock at the door and it'd be some big bloke playing cricket in his white clothes. And he'd go, come and get your crow. And you're like, fuck. So you'd have to jump on your Mustang in your jammies, you know, pedal down the fucking football oval and just stand there in the car park and go, Bill! And he'd go, oh, you're awake. You know, just come flying over, land on your shoulder and, yeah, let's go home. It was so cool. So we actually gave him, there was a place down at Berry, it was a wildlife sanctuary back then. I think it might be still there now, I don't know, down the south.
How long do they live?
ages, maybe 100 years, who knows.
Wow.
But yeah, so Bill had this big stainless steel bracelet with his name and address and phone number and all that on it. And we asked if they'd take him because we knew that he was going to get killed, like, you know, and that. And they said, yeah, we will. So we used to ring him up and they'd get him near the phone and he'd go, Bill, Bill, he'd go, and recognising our voices. But he used to go and, like, you know when guys used to wear white shirts and they'd almost put $20 in their pocket so you could see it was $20? Like, yeah, it was sort of like, maybe it was a New South Wales thing, but it was like, I got $20, you know, maybe I'll score, I don't know, you know. And Bill used to, like, look at him and he'd come and land on their shoulder and they'd go, oh, wow, isn't he cute? But then he'd get the $20 and he'd just fly off. You know, you used to be like working on your motorbikes and he'd be like looking at you, and let's see how smart they are. He'd be like looking at you and he'd know that you were going for the feeler gauge all the time, and so he'd wait until you weren't looking and he'd pick it up and he'd fly up to next door's roof and he'd get up there going, You'd think, what the and Dad would be like, oh, Bill, get down here, and he'd be like jumping around going, no, you come and get it, you come He was so cool, eh? He was like this.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah, they're amazing birds. And then, but yeah, like we used to ring him up down there, and we ended up not ringing him up after years and years and years. He could still be there for all we know, you know.
Wow.
Like,
How far away is that?
oh, it's south, like that's south of Sydney. Like I grew up in Wollongong,
Yeah.
and then yeah, it's probably I don't know 100 km south of that again, where he lives now. But you know, he's with all these animals. He'd be getting looked after, you know. He knew how to work it.
The other thing is this one here, that's Bill on the fence.
Yeah.
And that's his band around him with his name and address on it. Yeah, and the Hills Hoist behind you.
Yeah.
And this one, so that's you at what age?
13 maybe.
13. Look how skinny you are. Look at your little legs. And there he is.
There he is. Just had breakfast.
That's amazing.
I know.
So there's nothing about the government saying you couldn't have a crow.
No, even I had one recently, and I went to national parks to get a permit because, you know, I didn't want someone to steal the crow, only because we got it injured, and but it left. And they said, for a crow? I went, yeah, like it's a crow, like it's an Australian bird. They said, you don't need a permit for a crow. It's devastated.
Saying those because we get a little video of you with your gold digging, and that's going to be sold tomorrow, so you're getting rid of it. But there's but you're saying there's like a gold rush now. There's lots of people out
for
there.
sure, mate, for
So
sure.
we're going back to old Australia now, where there's
I think so.
Yeah.
You know, but isn't it like it's on everybody's bucket list, isn't it? You know, like, oh, one day I'm going to do that.
So see if I get lucky.
Yeah, one day I'm going to do. I'd love to do that. And I think now people look at the price of gold and go, fuck, I'm doing it. You know, like if I'm ever going to do it, this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
Still a lot of older people though. You know, it's still the older people that are getting out there, you know, like, and sometimes you meet these people and you go, how long are you going to stay for out here, mate? And you go, oh, November. And you think, fuck, November out here. Like, I mean, you know, it's none of it's for the faint-hearted, you know. And I'm sure a lot of people go, yeah, I'm going to do that. And they get out there and they go, what the fuck, you know, like, you know. And I don't know, I meet people that go, oh my God, I haven't found gold for 6 weeks. And I think like, wow, you know.
Really?
Yeah, you know, like you just meet people. You know, some people find it every day. Some people like,
Really?
you know,
Some
and,
lucky, some
and that, you know, and then you'll hear of somebody finding like a huge fucking chunk, and then you meet somebody else and go, haven't come across any for 6 weeks, and you just think like, well, you're turning your detector on, like that, you know, like just. It's the luck of the draw, you know, it's the luck of the draw, and, you know, sometimes you can walk over the same thing 1,000 times, you don't see any gold, but then you walk over that south and you find a bit, you know. How? Like, you know, like...
You were saying you think the fairies put it out there.
Yeah, I think the fairies put it out there, and I think the gold finds you. You don't find the gold. You know, I think it's more the witches. Like at night, they just think, like, yeah, let's go get some gold and spread it around.
The thing is, though, out there, I mean, I know there's a few regulations you've got to... But basically, there's a real freedom to it.
There's a freedom providing, you know, like you got to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be self-sufficient. You got to be smart. You know, and you got to understand the bush. And you got to understand that you know you're not going to get lost. You're not hopefully not going to have to call the SES to come in. And you know, like you want to have a little bit of bush sense about you.
Yeah.
And you got to have the equipment. You know, so you got to have a little bit of investment to get going. And we keep it really basic. You know. If you can't shit with a shovel, don't go. Yeah. You know, like you don't need to have a toilet and chemicals and the rest of it, you know, like, and actually our shits are famous worldwide.
Why is that?
We don't know if it's a South Australian thing, but like, you know, when you camp out bush and you do it, especially in a gold place, right? And you do a shit, you got to put a stick out of it.
Oh.
Well, you don't want to be walking along with your detector and think, oh my God, what have I got here, and dig up someone's fresh turd. Like, you just do not want to do that, you know. And so, yeah, we put a stick in it, you know. And some people I know are really, really particular. Like, I walked past one of their sort of bush lavatories once, and I thought, whoa, it looked like this Budgoogar cemetery. It was literally like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and exactly, you know, where you could put your foot in between them and with the stick hanging out of it. Anyway, we camped in a place several times, you know, and so we had our little, and everybody has their own ensuite, I suppose you can call it, and that works on how far you can go with your bowels, you know. I guess that's my section, you know. And anyway, we camped there one year, and then the next year we camped there, and some people came along, and they had this story that the year before they came through, and with a French couple, this French couple came through, and they were all detecting for gold, and they came across one of our bush lavatories, and they actually thought that, wow, man, if you've put a stick in it, they must have found something here. So they had a good look around before they worked out that, oh shit, you know, literally. But our crap is still world famous. We're known in France.
That is so funny.
It's so funny. Like, we couldn't believe it either, you know. Like, we went out a couple of years later, and then this guy's telling us, and we go, "Oh, it's us." So yeah, unless, like with the gold thing, unless you're prepared to do shit like that, and you know, I mean, we go 10 days without a shower.
Yeah.
You're going to be prepared to do that, you know, like, and most people aren't. So even though you get the people that go out there and think, yeah, I'm going to go for gold, it's a lot harder again. I mean, if it was so easy, everybody would be doing it, especially with the price of gold now.
What's really interesting, though, is like we have four-wheel drives now, all the equipment, but in the gold rush days, they didn't have any.
Insane.
And now they're trying to divide us again, you know, Muslims, Jews, and all this. But you got that great story about the Muslims out there.
Oh, mate, it's amazing. Like, for a start, if it wasn't for the Afghanis, half of Australia would never have been opened up.
Yeah.
You know, Alice Springs would never have existed. You know, like Kalgoorlie, all those places. But way back in the day, like the late
So for the people who don't know, they were bringing the water out from long camel trains.
Oh, they were doing everything. They were carting pianos. You know, they were camels did everything. They opened up Australia. You know, like, I mean, there was no water in these places. You know, like, you have a look at all the historical things, and they were brought over, and Afghanis came, Muslim Afghanis. You know, like, and they worked Australia, and they were well respected, and the rest of it. But in the gold rush in Western Australia, when it first happened, when they were just picking lumps off the ground, of course you ended up with thousands and thousands of like young guys going out there with nothing, having no idea, to going out to places where there's no water, like absolutely, like they used to build condensers and chop down wood to make steam to make water. That was the only way that they had water, you know, and that's when there was towns. But yeah, and these guys were just going out there pushing wheelbarrows, walking, carrying whatever they had, which was nothing. They had nothing to lose. And then the Western Australian government said, you know, shit, people started to put pressure on them and saying this is not duty of care, you know.
Yeah.
And so they enlisted these Afghani cameleers to go out there and give them the option, you know, like, here's some water, here's some flour, or you can come back. Yeah. And so they went out, who knows how many thousands of people they saved, you know. And they went out, and when they came back, and the Western Australian government said to them, so what do we owe you? You know, what was the expenses that, you know, you incurred along the way? What did it cost? And he said, mate, these are children of God. These are, you know, it's our duty to look after them. You owe us nothing. Could you imagine that happening these days?
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
And I mean on any level. Could you imagine a Christian going, I'll do it for nothing?
And you're not talking a few days. This is months, maybe a year.
Months, you know, and saving actual young guys, you know, like somebody's children, somebody of a different religion, somebody of a different culture. They just went out to save them because we're all children of God, you know. And
I think the trip to Kalgoorlie is about almost 600-700 k's from Perth.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you think that with a camel train doing
But a
10
camel train,
k's a day?
they're talking about going from Kalgoorlie inland
Yeah,
to
wow.
where people had never been before. Didn't
Yeah.
matter who you were,
All looking for gold.
Or, well, the people were looking for gold, but the
Yeah.
cameleers came in to, say, hey, and there would have been so many people perished, so
Yeah.
many people perished.
Absolutely.
But
Just lost.
yeah,
You
but no.
told the great story of that guy who found a reef, the young guy.
Oh yeah, this poor young guy, like he'd walked all the way from God knows where to start with, walked from Menzies and he was heading up towards, I think it's Mount Ida or something like that. Came across a reef, took a few samples, pegged it all out and everything else, and started to walk back. And he didn't ever made it. Died before he got there. Like he's probably 23, maybe could have been 17. And it's just amazing.
So just saying here, just with this is gold that you've found, and this is one time out. No, don't tell me where, but just says one time out.
No, it's more than one time. We started just doing it like, as a hobby, really.
Yeah.
And then now we just go out because gold's worth so much. So this is 3-4 times out.
Yeah, 3-4 times out. Okay, so this is the biggest one.
Yeah, all up there's 4 ounces here.
Yeah, there's 4 ounces.
So that's 9.5 grams, 10 grams. Yeah.
So this one here, this is a 10 grammer.
Yeah, it's about 2,200.
$2,200. Yeah, you can feel the weight.
To sell as a nugget is worth more, because it's a perfect jewellery size nugget.
Yeah.
And then these ones here, how they're all flat and shiny, they've come a long way from the source.
Yeah.
And then these ones here that are still attached to the quartz, like they're close to the source, possibly.
And what, they get this stuff out? They like break away the stone and grab it?
Yeah,
so these are loose.
Found,
you found them like this?
Yep, found them. They were a bit dirty, like these were being soaked in acid. These I found like this. These are soaking in acid at the moment, just not very strong, doesn't hurt you. And but these were found on the surface of places. So, if you knew what you were doing, which I don't, you would probably dig around there a lot more.
So you're saying if you found this...
If you found that...
You think there might be a reef nearby?
It's closer to the source because it's still attached.
And the source means there's a reef or a bigger...
Yeah, where it all started, whereas this stuff's found down the hill or the creek or whatever. It's found further away.
Yeah. Can I just see that T-shirt? This is so funny.
It's not a smoke.
So was this like on the ground, just waiting, or did you have to dig down?
No, you got to dig. You get a detection, and then this stuff here, you see it. You hear this woo, and you think, oh wow, and then you go whoa. It's what they call them, a sunbaker.
A sunbaker.
Yeah, because it's on the ground and it's flat and it's been on the ground for a long time.
Yeah.
Like it's weathered, you could say. Whereas this stuff here is, like, look how gnarly it is, Like it hasn't been on the surface that long. When I say relatively long, I mean, it's 400 million years old.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
It's pretty old.
It's staggering, isn't it?
But yeah, so this stuff here,
Oh, it's actually coming out of that one.
Yeah, I've been soaking it in acid. And then what you do, because I wanted to keep the nuggets as nuggets.
Yeah.
But what I wanted, I'm just going to smash it up. You just smash it up.
So is there a gold rush happening out there now? I mean, is it actually really busy with people looking for gold because gold's so expensive?
Yeah, because the price of gold's gone up huge,
Yeah.
Like just huge. And so, yeah.
So how much would this be worth?
At the moment, about 28.
So that there, $28,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, ridiculous, eh? So.
And it really is a gold colour, isn't it? It's a sort of...
Only because we've full washed it.
Yeah.
Like, see, even little bits like this that break off. See how they got a little bit of gold in it? You think, it's just a little bit. It all adds up. See on the end?
Oh, yeah, just a tiny bit.
And, like, see these bits here?
Yeah.
These are bigger bits of quartz. But the gold's, still attached.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when your detector hits one of them, it's usually covered in dirt and you can't see the gold or anything.
Oh, I see.
So
you're saying you put it in your mouth and wash it in your mouth?
Yeah, not when they're this big. But when they're this big, the first thing I do is like put it in my mouth and get it wet and go, oh, yeah, cool, it's gold. Put it in the pocket. But this bit. I thought like it was all like had heaps of dirt on it, And
Yeah.
I'm always doubt myself, and I'm going, is it gold? I wonder if it's gold because it didn't look like that.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
looked like brown shit.
Oh, so you couldn't see any of this.
You probably could, but because I always
you had to
doubt
clean
myself.
it all.
Yeah, you still got to soak it.
And there she is.
And you can see bits
Millions
of
and
quartz
millions
still
of years old.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's still gleaming as though it's brand new.
All the way from when we went bang, apparently. That's what they say.
Yeah, wow.
I personally think witches come and scatter it around at night. Because, man, I don't know how many times you walk the same track and you don't find gold. And then on the 110th time that you just walk that track, you find a bit of gold.
Wow.
Now, how?
Wow. So it misses it, yeah, and there it is.
So
fascinating, isn't it?
It's really fascinating. It's really fun,
Yeah.
It's really fun.
And around Kalgoorlie, there's just tons of it for some reason.
Oh, in several places, like Western Australia's like there's heaps of places, but yeah, for some reason, I mean, look at Victoria. Victoria's got huge amounts, and in the actual gold rush, Queensland was pulling out more gold than any other state.
Wow.
Whoever knew that? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. That's it, mate. Like, there's none of us, I think for some reason people now think there must be like, I don't know, shops in cemeteries or something like that. Or when you get to the other side, there's still shops because, they're always striving for something they don't have, not something they need, and you look at those people there, they didn't even know if they were going to get a drink of water. Yeah. They just, like the stories, the hardships, but the guts and the courage, like
you said you were finding it in the cemeteries, like the people killing themselves.
Oh, the cemeteries are amazing, like all the old cemeteries over there, because these towns are just ghost towns now, really amazing to walk around. You can just feel so much. But the cemeteries have been done up by, I don't know, maybe outback cemeteries or something like that. And they do the research and they put the name of the person, the age, and what they died of. The amount that died of like suicide and suicide.
It's just been too hard.
Too hard. Too hard. Ones that died of gunshot wounds, and you think, was it because they ripped somebody's gold off, or just the gun went wrong? But you look at the ages, 15. Whole families, just died of malnutrition. Or you see mother, you look at the dates, and the mum gave birth to twins, but she died. And so her date's written there. And then one twin lived for 2 days. And then their date's written there. Then the other twin. How the fuck do you get over that, And then you see that, later on they had another 4 kids. Another wife, and you just think like, wow, like no hospital, no nothing, and no penicillin, no nothing, Probably relied on the Aboriginals a lot more than people will ever know, just, like bush medicines and things like that,
It's even that thing of being out there. I mean, there she is. You've got these 2 twins, nowhere to give them milk, and the wife has died.
Yeah. And the wife, like the kids are totally malnourished, so they're just got to sit there and wait for them. You can't imagine it. And you think, oh, yeah, like, look at that. But in our heads, we see it all happening in a house or a room. Yeah. It's not. It's under a mulga tree with a bit of canvas, and all your possessions are there in a wooden box. And just the hardship plus, the hardship plus. But, I think we've lost that now, in Australia. I think Australian people have lost that. We all live on...
Too soft now.
We are fucking too soft. Everybody lives on the coattails of their forefathers who were fucking brilliant men, and women, like brilliant people. They did everything. And we just think like, oh, that's us. It's not us, Like... It's. I'd like to think that we've still got some of that, but the more I see of people, I just lose total faith in humanity, and the whole segregation, the whole division, if it's not religion, it's a country. If it's a country, it's a state. If it's not that, it's a political thing. Shouldn't we be looking at people's just morals and ethics, not looking at all this other stuff that's out there to, like say all this stuff, like. I mean, like it's, we let people come in, like people are going off about this Bondi thing that happened. Really fucking sad and really wrong on so many levels. But it was 2 freaks that came here, not as boat people. They came here on a visa. 2 freaks. Why does it have to become such a, I don't know, a radical thing? Like, the whole Palestine-Israeli thing, it just becomes this racist thing. Isn't it about all the fucking children that are dying?
Yeah.
To me, that's all it's about. Isn't that humanity?
Yeah.
Isn't that Christian?
It's our future.
It's our future. But isn't that what Christian values are? They're not about talking about, oh, what a shit religion it is, or, they're Muslim, it doesn't matter, who gives a shit, Isn't it about humanity and just having, I don't know, just being nice people?
Yeah, decent human beings.
Just being decent human beings, live under that, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah.
All we got to do, we don't have to fucking complicate things. We don't have to bring in the greed. We don't have to bring in the, everything else, And people talk about, democracy and that. Mate, in a lot of ways, there's a lot of good things about communism. Look in Australia, It's how much money you got as to how good your life is.
Yeah, that's right.
Even if I need a box of matches, I go to Coles and Woolies, and there's the cheap matches. There's 50 in a box, only 3 will work, but they're cheap.
That's right.
And that's all you can afford,
Yeah.
You might go to a supermarket in Russia, there's one lot of matches, but they're the best matches we got, and everybody can have them for that one price. To me, that's fairer. I'm not saying we need to be a communist country, but I'm not saying democracy's working for us either. I'm not saying that surely.
Do you think democracy is a bit like a Monopoly game? We play Monopoly, and eventually some people, a few people, end up with all the money, and the rest of us are quibbling over what's left.
Yeah, for sure, mate. It's like all about the economics, isn't it? I mean, we're only useful. People think, we get looked after. We don't get looked after. We don't get looked after as elderly people. Look at all these free screening tests that people get, through the government and everything else. But you get to a certain age when you can no longer pay taxes. And you don't need them anymore. You're redundant. That's what they're saying. We don't need, put them over there, shut them up, drug them. I mean, it's fucked. Yeah. It's all fucked. Like I live out here in my little bubble and I see really good people. Don't get me wrong. There's really good people out there. There's great people out there. But fuck me dead, it's the other 98% you got to get through to get to them, And they're the ones that are playing the Monopoly game. They're the ones with the power. Like I even meet people and they finally get out of debt. I think, well, man, you're finally out of debt, aren't you happy? It's all good, blah, blah, blah. And they go, oh, no, I'm going to go and buy this now, And you think, why, And it's like, I've got to have more. It's like my neighbour's got this, I've got to have more. It's not working for me, or... It's just greed, and
so it's like a hole in them that they're trying to fill material possessions, and they can't fill it.
Material possessions, or just to have more, have. Or how many people do you say? You go, mate, you could say you're right. Why don't you retire? Like, why don't you just go out and work, but go out and do something different. Don't be just sit there tied to the fucking, grindstone and that. And they go, oh no, but what would I do? And you think, well, go and work that out. Don't just, there's so many stupid things that people go, oh, but if I stopped working, I'd die. Why? Yeah. Like, why?
Because they think they don't have the purpose.
Well, surely you can motivate yourself. What have you done? Spent all that time of your working life to learn not how to motivate yourself. You probably will die. That's a perfect example. It's just like, and I just think like, we're far too, we're just so fucked up.
Do you think we're a bit too scared to get outside of our bubbles? The little ruts are so entrenched. Because what happened with COVID is, a lot of people who were stuck in bubbles, if you didn't take the jab, you got kicked out and you had to make new lives. And I've been documenting those people and they've all benefited.
I've always lived by myself. Like I just always, I don't know, maybe I've got this super bullshit radar or something. But, and I don't give people second chances. Like, I think fuck life's too short, and people go, oh, that's not nice. Well, I don't care. I'm not here to make friends. I'm just here to be true to myself, and I think I've got lost of thought, but I just think that
what are you saying that you've always been a rebel?
Oh yeah, I've always been a rebel, and not so much a rebel, but just a free spirit.
And you've also been a questioner. I think even like when you talk about the colouring books, why can't I have a colouring book?
Yeah, mate, 5 years old, I worked it out. These people that had me in a bloody, what do you call it? Whatever it was, Sunday school. Yeah. My nana was even the teacher. I went in one day, you know, because you're 5, you have to wear the shoes and everything else, you know, think it's like this passage of right or something, you know. You go in there and I'm looking at this big pile of colouring in books and I'm thinking I'm going to get one of them because it was the 60s. Nobody had the money to spend on a colouring in book. They reckon it's hard now. Go back then. You know, like we didn't have 10 colouring in books sitting around just wasted, you know. Like,
I remember.
And I'm thinking I'm going to get a colouring in book.
Yeah.
But some snotty-nosed little cow that had been there for every Sunday of the year was sick that Sunday. So they gave me her colouring in book, thinking, you know, she doesn't want to miss that page. I only got to colour in one page on a Sunday, you know, and that. So I just coloured the whole thing in black, and that was it. They kicked me out. But how was that teaching me anything about Christian values?
Yeah.
Everybody was there in the 60s. Yeah. Everybody knew how much colouring in book meant to a little kid.
Yeah.
You know, like I was 5 and I could work it out. Like these guys are assholes. Like straight away, you know, like, and that just gave me this real thing, like, and you know, like my grandparents, they were Methodists, and my grandfather, and they were assholes. My grandmother wasn't, but my grandfather was, you know, and so they were Methodists, and I remember, you know, when you're little and you learn to write and you join the dots up, you know, and I remember joining the Mum wrote "I love you," and then I joined them all up and I put it in an envelope, and I had a stamp that I found in a drawer, and I put it on there. I licked it and I put it on there because that's what mail looks like, you know. And it was a 3-cent stamp. I got a flogging for that.
Wow.
Because years later I sort of semi-understand it. I don't understand the flogging bit, but I understand. My grandfather had been through a depression.
Yeah.
You know, like, and he really understood the value of 3 cents.
Yeah.
To me, it was just a stamp in a drawer, you know, like, and that sort of stuff. I didn't understand why I needed to get a flogging, but it was that sort of that's how people were.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, God, if you walked out the front yard when you weren't told to, you'd get a flogging, you know. I remember doing that once and we got a flogging, me and my sister, and then the cat walked out the front yard and we thought, well, fuck, it's getting one too.
I'm noticing the stink bugs everywhere. So you're having a stink bug infection.
Yeah.
Infection.
Look up here, see the little clusters?
Oh, yeah.
But that's nothing. We had millions. We just vacuumed them. You know, just vacuumed them and put them down there. And, you know, it's only on those hot days. I mean, we had that day that was 50, you know. Yeah. When they come, it sounded like rain. And we were all thinking, fuck, it's raining. But it was just stink bug invasion.
And what were they doing? Were they trying to get away from the heat?
No, I don't know. It's like about every 20 years, they just sort of like come from somewhere. I don't know if they come out of the ground, but you might just walk past a hollow in the scrub and you'll just see them oozing. Like they just live on top of each other. They actually repel us, like let go this smell, which makes the other ones feel like, oh, that's safe to be there. Okay. So they all sit on top of each other. Yeah. So when you disturb them, you just get ones to replace them, you know, like, and that, so yeah, every 20 years or so they come and you just end up with millions and millions of stink bugs. Wow. It's good now that we live in a house and they can't get in. When we lived in the shed and they could get in, that was like, fuck.
Must have driven you nuts.
Oh, it did. I suppose that's how I am now. But
so you'd wake up and you'd just be covered in stink bugs?
Oh, they wouldn't land on you, but you could smell them. And you'd wake up and they'd just be like, it'd just look like, you know, they could be 3 inches thick and just like this patch this big and just be stink bugs like right there on the end of your wardrobe or something. And and we didn't have power then, you know, so you couldn't just vacuum them or anything like that. And you just like think, fuck, what am I going to do, you know? And being a Buddhist, you'd get the lighter out and go, fuck, I'm not a Buddhist, I'm just going to burn it.
What about when the mice plagues? What's it like being out here with the mice plague?
Now it's great because we live in a house. Yeah. And, you know, sometimes I look out the back door and they're like, let us in, and they're shaking and it's cold.
Oh, you can see them, but they can't get in.
You can still see them, but they can't get in. It's fucking good. But down the little house when we had mouse plagues, oh my God, you know, like, and we only had 13 mouse traps. That's all we had, you know, for some reason you only had 13 mouse traps. And, but by the time you set your first one, and then you'd set your last one, 3 would have gone off. So you'd have to go and empty them. It takes about 30 mice to fill an ice cream container, you know. And then we started setting bottle traps where you'd have like a 20-litre drum full of water and you'd have a bottle that with a bit of metworth stuck in the end. And then the mice would run down there, they'd lean over, they'd slip off, and in the morning, you know, you'd have to go and dig a hole to bury these hundreds hundreds of mice,
Hundreds.
Oh, yeah, they'd just fill up until they got so full, then they could jump out without drowning, like they'd just be like, yeah, okay, that's the cut-off point, and they'd still try and get the metworms, but they wouldn't drown. And that's, it was, and then after the mice, you got snakes,
Because the snake's coming for so many mice.
We've only had one snake in the house here, but that's 'cause it probably came in the back door. But yeah, down the old house, man, we had so many snakes. I used to say to the kids, be careful of snakes when they're running around the scrub, but they'd never seen one in the scrub. They'd only ever seen them in the house. So they'd open the back door and then they'd tiptoe in going like,
Who would get rid of them? You?
Oh, no, mostly Spitter. Like, my husband, he'd get rid of them, and that. But just the other day, we killed 2 snakes.
Okay.
My daughter-in-law, you just met her before. Yeah. She was walking down to the little house, and this big brown snake was in front of her. And she went, snake! And, so I had the grandson, gave her back to her. And then me and Maddie, we went down there, and we saw it, and Maddie chopped it. And then we're thinking, like, fuck, it's the year of the snake. It's going to be really bad karma. And I'm just justifying it, like, I know, there's kids and dogs around, there's bylaws, like, we're good here, like. And then I went down 20 minutes later. Like, 20 minutes later, I went down, and Leishy came down, and I'm going, so where did you see it? And she's going, oh, no, we saw it over here. And I'm going, yeah, no, we saw it. And I pointed down right in front of me, and I said, that's where we saw it. And there was a fucking another one there.
Oh, my God.
I know. And I'm just like, whoa. And I'm, Maddie, bring it up a shovel. And it comes down, like really bizarre, So, yeah, we got 2 snakes in. Brown snakes. I mean, I don't kill them if they're out there.
No,
but if
those that don't know, they're highly venomous.
Yeah, and if they're where the kids and the dogs are going to be, I'll kill them, like, and that sort of stuff. But, yeah, it was quite bizarre. 2 snakes in 21 minutes in exactly the same spot. Like, that's the first.
It was like a glitch in the snake matrix.
Oh, my God, and it was, and see to my daughter, she's sending off to this friend of hers that's right into this, like, whoa, bad karma stuff. And over the East Coast, she's going, oh, my God, what does it mean if we killed a snake? And then 21 minutes later, and she goes, make that 2. So, yeah, no, it's funny living life on the edge.
But it gets, Spitter was telling me it'll get hot out here into the 50s, but in the winter, your taps or your pipes will freeze.
Yeah, no, we've had days here that are like -5. And you wake up and there's ice on the windscreen. And even days when I've driven the kids to school and on the side of the road when you're going down, like the dirt road, anywhere it's shady, it'll still be ice, like, at 11 o'clock. Yeah, totally different. And, you end up with all this sphagnum moss and it's just beautiful, It's really beautiful desert and then, come summer, like the other day when we had that 50-degree day and, you sit outside to have a smoke and it's just like a furnace, isn't it? Your eyes are like, whoa, and that, but you still do it to have that smoke.
How's the house though? This house. So you built this house yourselves as a pentagon or pentagonal?
Octagonal.
How's that go with the heat?
No, it's really good. Like we did it in Hebel bricks, and we don't have an air conditioner or anything like that. But then mind you, the lounge room's got 14-foot floor to ceiling. The kitchen's got 12-foot, and then we've got the extra 10-foot upstairs in the bedroom. So it's a lot of, then there's the veranda all the way around it. So it's quite good. But it's still in there, like after 3 hot days, like if you've got a 47 and then it'll get hot, but it'll still only get to 27. Yeah. Like 27, that's all right.
Yeah. Isn't it remarkable that you're out here, no air conditioner, because most people conceive that that's possible.
Yeah. But it's like I've got, like I talk about morals, like I'll never have a toilet inside. I reckon it's actually the downfall of society.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know that's pretty weird, but I think about things in a strange way. But I think as soon as we took the toilet from outside inside, people lost connect.
Okay.
Like, you can ask them, where's the Southern Cross? They go, oh, I don't know. Whereas everybody knew where the Southern Cross when you walked out to the dunny. Like the door was open.
It was something to do on the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, we got rid of...
No mobile phones.
No mobile phones,
Look up instead of down.
Yeah, that's it, I still do it in our toilet. So you never have the toilet inside. I think it was a really bad thing. And then after the toilet moved inside, people stopped walking.
Yeah.
Then they got a remote. People got bigger. Yeah. Then they got a microwave. They forgot how to cook. And it's just one step after another step. I look now and I think, you say how are people now? I look at younger people now. It's all about AI. They're programmed.
Yeah.
They're totally programmed. And really they're programmed not to think. They're programmed to go with the majority. And that's what AI is telling people. Like they sit there and go, ask a question. You'd say to anybody that's younger, like, and you go ask them a question, and they'll Google it.
Yeah.
You know, like instead of giving you their opinion,
Yeah.
and you go, oh well, I know this from experience, and they go, but where's the data? And you go, well, it's fucking experience, you know, like, but you know, and then they'll Google it, and you'll think AI says,
Yeah.
you know, AI's given you an overall view of everything that's been.
Yeah, but they're just taking it granted it's right.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
also who's putting it in there?
Yeah.
They're gonna put in there what they want you to believe in anything. And people's concentration spans, people have been programmed, like they are programmed, and so
Yeah.
you know, like they've got the concentration span of a goldfish.
Yeah.
Like
So what has it done with the AI? So it's not that someone makes it up. It does a Google search a million times faster than we can,
Yeah.
and comes up with an aggregate,
Yeah.
and then gives you that.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
But whether that's true or not, who's to know?
But isn't that, to me, it's just like a modern day statistics?
Yeah.
And it can be skew-whiffed on any way possible.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, with the COVID thing, they say, oh, only so many people died, but then look at all the people that said they asked their doctor to
Yeah.
report it, or, you know, an adverse reaction, and the doctor said, oh, no, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, it's all bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
anything that you haven't done yourself, basically believe it's bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, like, really, unless, you know, you trust the person, and that, I think, still got to have trust. But, you know, like, I'd much prefer to believe somebody that doesn't have a bit of paper or anything, but can tell me how to do something because they've done it.
Yeah.
Not because I watched it on YouTube. Yeah, oh, yeah, right, no worries. Good, you got it down then? You know, providing you got your phone, you got
I
it
have
down?
to say, YouTube has saved me on the road with the bus and stuff. I know the Bill and the other mechanics do, but a lot of stuff now, especially electronics, it's sort of, I feel like it's all humans doing it, but you feel like you're working together in a way.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know.
But you've got like an older vehicle.
Yeah.
All vehicles now, it's just everything's a sealed unit, isn't it?
Oh, yeah,
Like, you know,
that's
it's
right.
nothing's meant to be fixed.
No.
And if this goes down over here, everything goes down.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
that's
it's
right.
all sort of
It's all
like
sensors.
yeah,
and
it's
stuff.
all sensors. You know, like and
They
yeah,
the mechanics plug the car in for the car to tell them.
yeah, it tells them what the machine tells them what's wrong. You know,
Yeah.
not like the old guy going, "Oh, fuck, I can hear it tap it." You know, like or just nothing like that. You know, and but it's still just AI. And like I like YouTube though. Don't get me wrong. Like
Yeah.
YouTube, like, and I'll look at that. You know, if
Yeah.
I know you think, God, how do you do that? You know, and you know you might need to connect an aerial and you know work out
Yeah.
how to peel things back. You know, for sure. But it's not the be all and end all.
I think the scariest thing about AI, I saw a comedian talk about it today. And he said, like, say when Russia was the USSR and they had a secret service police, the Stasi, whatever, that took a huge portion of the GDP. It cost a lot of money to do that. He's saying AI now has made it very cheap.
Yeah.
So it's very, very cheap for the powerful to control us now.
I
Cameras and everything.
Oh yeah, for sure, all of that. But what I don't understand about, like, AI has its uses, right? Now, look at all these councils around Australia that if I want to remove that tree over there, I've got to put in an application. It goes to one department of the council, it goes to another department of the council that doesn't talk to the first department, then it goes back to another department that's still only got old maps, so it's actually missed out and got, each time you get a fee, 6 months later, oh no, you can't move the tree, you know? Like, you just think, like, okay, it's all right, it's fallen over because of the wind, that's why I wanted to remove it, and it's actually squashed next door's house. But no worries, thanks. Now, wouldn't it be good if AI could do that?
Yeah.
That if you just said, I want to remove that tree, punch in your address, you know, tell them where it is, they can look straight away on Google Maps.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, fuck, there's 700 trees of those ones there, we don't need that. Bang, done, $10.
Well, I think
thanks.
Elon Musk now is talking about the courts. He reckons that because look at you go to courts now. The thing that frightens you about the court is the cost.
Yeah.
The cost of lawyers and barristers and this. Well, he's saying, and the time that it takes. But he's saying you could streamline it through. You know.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust anybody with my actual life, though. I
Yeah.
prefer to actually stand there and fight for myself
Yeah.
than to hand it
I know
over.
you can still be in there. He's saying, but instead of a human judge, it's just an AI judge,
Black and white.
and it's all black and white. It's the law's the law.
Yeah, black and white. I know, but how easy would it be to set some people up like us?
I don't
that
know. I don't know.
I don't know. I always have a sus thing that if you're not conforming, they're like, oh, well, AI, mate, we got it covered.
Well, that's it. If you don't conform, unless you're some miraculous artist or businessman, if you don't conform, generally you end up on the fringes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
It's the only way you can be you.
Yeah, Yeah, for sure. But I think with the AI thing, like, the whole music scene, like, I mean, you're a playwright.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, you write plays from your heart, from your soul.
Yeah.
Like musicians write songs, they're from their heart, they're
Yeah.
from their soul. Now there's apps that I think that's what they're called, programs or whatever, but you can punch in a few keywords, tell them what sort of genre you want it written in, tell them everything else. Bzz, it's there
Yeah,
right
we're
now.
going to play one tonight from our mechanic Bill. He's done one.
But to me, it's not from someone's heart.
I know
It's
really
not from
strange.
someone's soul. And and to an artist, I'm not an artist,
Yeah.
but to an artist, that must be so fucking soul destroying.
Well, it's strange
Like,
because I'm doing AI music to my poetry, so it's my poetry in AI, and people are loving it. They're buying it, but at the same time, it doesn't feel
You own it.
fulfilling.
Yeah. Like, but how would you feel, like, you've written plays? How would you feel if somebody just punched in a few words?
Oh, it's happening. They write plays with AI now.
It's fucked.
It's already here.
It's scary.
Yeah, and they're probably better than anything I'll ever write.
Yeah, but are they? Because they're not written by heart. They're not
I
written
don't
with
know.
soul.
I don't know. I haven't
know?
looked at any yet.
And this is just making people.
I'll just show you an example.
But this is making people become robots.
Yeah, there was a play competition called Short and Sweet. They just wanted 10-minute plays. I talked to the judge because I was going to enter one, and she said they've had loads and loads of entries. They're all AI. AI's written all of them.
And that's okay.
So whose plays are we performing?
Yeah.
Are robots?
So when we go to the doctors, and if we need to go to the doctors, and we may as well just let him go on AI too, eh?
Yeah.
Like you
Well,
go.
usually they do. They're just on
I
Google.
know, but
I could have done that.
it's so fucked up.
Yeah,
Like really,
yeah.
like what are we going to be? We're going to have no skills.
Yeah.
As a human, as a race,
Yeah.
as an actual race, we're going to have no skills.
Yeah, that's right.
We're not even going to know how to think.
Well, see, the interesting thing with art is if you decided to be an artist and say you pick painting, well, the first painting you paint is not going to be that good. You have to go on a journey to learn and hone your skills. AI gets rid of that journey. And so why would people bother thinking, oh, it's going to take me years to get just a little bit better, and AI is always going to be better than me, so they won't start the journey. That's what I think is the danger for art.
For sure, and they'll forget how to paint,
Yeah.
and then they'll forget how to think.
Yeah.
But it's not that AI gets rid of that journey; it's AI gets rid of you.
Yeah, well, that's
Like-
right. Well, that's right. That journey is you. By the time you're
Yeah.
painting things that have come from your journey.
Yeah, and that's what they get rid of. But then they sell it that you get rid of the journey, and you think,
Yeah.
oh yeah, okay, that's good. That's fast speed it for me.
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah,
having
yeah,
margaritas at the end quicker than you suckers. But that's not the case. You're fucked.
Yeah.
you know? You're obsolete. You're redundant. You're not needed.
Yeah,
and
we're
that
in
thing
dodo
that aches,
territory.
and that thing that aches in your heart is being an artist.
Yeah.
It
We're in
dies.
dodo territory now. That's what I really believe.
Yeah.
We're
We're becoming extinct.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we have to realise it. But it's here all around us now.
Yeah. Oh, it is, mate. It
Yeah.
is. But people still think that it's not going to happen to me. I'm superior because I'm a white Christian. I'm cool. I'm good. Like I'm above everybody else. And hey, even if I do fuck up and it doesn't matter, do all this shit along the way, when I get to the pearly gates, I say, "Oh, forgive me, Lord, and all my sins. Hallelujah." Like it's all bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just find it all bullshit, and I think a lot of people are wasting their lives. Like, you look at any American interview. This guy's just sweated his ass off, put his whole life on hold to make a movie, and he gets up and he accepts the award and he goes, "Oh, thank God." It fucking had nothing to do with God, mate. Do you think God's going to be going, fuck, like, if they really believed what they believe, like, I created you, mate, what are you thanking me for? Like, you're the one that did the hard work, Like, you know what I mean? And I just think, like, yeah, okay, waste all your life, be an arsehole, but thank God, Like, oh, it's just on so many fucking levels, Like, and I agree, people, I sort of, you say dodo existence, but I sort of think, I almost want us to implode.
Okay.
Like I just think like we're so fucked up.
So you think breaking it all down and starting again is
Yeah, break the whole thing down, start
Yeah.
again, like, and hopefully I'm not one of those ones that
gets broken.
That gets broken. Yeah, I probably got a target on me from every fucking thing.
Well, you could concede that it's happening.
Yeah, you can.
You know.
But you know what I can't understand about the world is, do we pay any attention to history? Like, we put so much emphasis on history, we pay no attention.
No.
You know, like you look at the Second World War, you look at the First World War, you look at the wars now. We think it's okay that 45,000 children die and get blasted with bombs and everything else because they're a different colour or they're a different religion or they brought it on themselves. What did those kids...
Or we just can't see them with our own eyes.
Yeah, you know, like, or, you know, it's nothing to do with me, you know, like, what can I do about it, you know, like, and I just find when we've got to that state in humanity, then should we go on? Like, should we go on? You know, let's bring in the aliens or... You know, like, should we be in control
Give
of
the
this
cockroaches a crack.
Give the cockroaches gun us 5 anyway, you know. And but you know, like, you just look at the power, the people in power.
Yeah.
Every fucking one of them's an arsehole. You know, everyone. And we think, oh, that's all right. You're better the arsehole, you know. You know. You know what
Well, I broke the chain that you had on me. I threw it down, then I walked away. I hear my name, it echoed loudly to those around, leaving no shame. Well, I got you out of my head. Now here I am, running the show. When I look back over my shoulder, you fell behind, out of my view. So come on, catch me if you can. Oh, you better be fast, you know I'm a free man. So come on, catch me if you can. Oh, you better be fast, you know I'm a free man. I climbed so high, then I jumped straight down. I took a breath and kissed the ground. I freed my mind, washed over my soul, left it behind.